I came to Dust Creek looking for a story, but the first thing I found was the scent of warm huckleberry pie. My editor said Silas Bennett could heal heartache with pastry, and my own broken engagement needed a miracle or two. The bakery doorbell was a tiny brass cowbell, and it announced me to a man dusted in flour and quiet strength. He had work-roughened hands and eyes like melted chocolate, and he was kneading dough like a sacred ancient prayer. I stammered my request for an interview, and he simply slid a warm hand pie across the wooden counter toward me. The first bite unspooled something shocking. A folded slip of parchment lay inside the flaky crust, handwritten in blue ink. It read, "Welcome, weary soul, to a place where bread rises and old chains fall away like dead leaves." I looked up, startled, and he only winked, already rolling another batch with a secret tucked into the tender folds. He whispered that every pie carried a personal note, but only the truly hungry heart ever discovered its hidden sweetness. I spent that entire afternoon watching him turn flour and fruit into edible poetry, and my cynicism began crumbling fast. He learned my name was Genevieve, and I learned he never spoke of his life before inheriting the bakery from a widow. The town gossiped that Silas once rode with the Kilgore gang, but the man I saw rescued abandoned kittens from alleyways. On day 2, I asked directly, and he handed me a rhubarb turnover with a note confessing I was a lost boy. He sat me down among flour sacks and told how a federal marshal, not bullets, had saved him with a second chance. That marshal's daughter taught him to bake, and after she died, he promised to feed every lonely wanderer who entered. I realized my notebook was still blank, but my heart was scribbling lines I'd never been brave enough to pen before. He let me knead bread while he narrated, and our hands touched inside the dough, sparking a warmth that lingered. He confessed he'd followed my own byline for months, drawn to the sadness behind my polished Boston sentences. I had never been seen like that, as if he read the invisible grief between my semicolons and proper punctuation. That evening, he blindfolded me and led me to a table set with the flakiest cherry pie and twin candles glowing. He'd written a note inside that read, "Let me be the crust that holds your filling safe," and I laughed tearfully. I kissed him first, tasting sugar and redemption, and he responded with the same reverence he gave rising dough. We walked the moonlit prairie together, and he showed me the wild blackberries he gathered before dawn every single morning. He said berries taught him patience, and I realized this outlaw had become a philosopher who communicated through fruit and sugar. My editor demanded the story, but my article shifted into a love letter about a man who resurrected himself through baking. A letter arrived threatening Silas if he didn't reveal the location of a hidden payroll from his gang years ago. He packed me a bag, intending to send me away for safety, but I flatly refused to abandon his side. Together we created a decoy pie filled with harmless ash, and we set it in the old hollow tree by the creek. The night the gang's emissary arrived, the whole town stood behind Silas with rolling pins, shovels, and fierce protective love. Silas spoke calmly. "I buried that money in the orphanage foundation 12 years ago, and the villain's greed withered." The sheriff arrested the would-be thief, and the town cheered, but Silas simply began mopping the bakery floor humbly. A week later, the orphanage confirmed the donation, and Silas's face glowed with the joy of a man finally free. He baked a celebration cake, and I found a ring baked inside a miniature crust resting upon my plate softly. It was an antique rose gold band, and the note said, "Be my forever recipe, my greatest and most sacred ingredient." I slid the ring on my finger, and the whole bakery erupted with cowboys, grannies, and children clapping wildly around us. Our wedding reception was a pie social on the town green, with 22 different flavors representing every reconciled broken heart. I took over the bakery books, and Silas expanded the back kitchen into a culinary school for former lost boys. My city friends couldn't understand why I stayed, but they'd never tasted a man who loved like warm caramel and grace. We published a cookbook of handwritten notes, and people worldwide started baking their own truth into simple homemade crusts. Our daughter Magnolia was born on a flour-dusted morning, and Silas cried into an apron that still holds the stain. He taught her that sugar is good, but patience is sweeter, and she grew up rolling dough beside the best man alive. One Christmas, he baked each townsperson a personal pie, spending weeks penning individual love letters into the golden dough layers. Old Joe, the barber, wept when his note read, "You gave me haircuts when I had no nickel. Now eat joy." I chronicled everything, and my editor finally published the story under the headline, "How Pie Saved an Entire Town's Heart." Years passed, and I still find notes tucked inside my breakfast biscuit, each one a fresh vow penned in sunrise silence. Just yesterday, I bit into a quiche and discovered a tiny scroll. "You still make my soul rise, Genevieve, always." Our bakery became a pilgrim destination, but we never charged the heartbroken. They paid us in stories and new beginnings. Silas still rises at 4 o'clock, his outlaw past dissolved like yeast in water, leaving only tenderness and warm lows. I sit by the window writing a new article about marriage as a daily dough that must be kneaded with gentle, faithful hands. Western Old Stories Official now invites you to taste a romance where every crust hides forgiveness and every bite heals something.